This is a massive Schefter bomb dropping right now in the Queen City, and it is the kind of news that sends shockwaves through the entire NFC South. I am hearing from league sources that a major pillar of the Carolina Panthers front office is currently being courted by a division rival. We are talking about a potential departure that could reshape how this team operates financially and strategically for years to come. Before we dive into the deep end of this developing story and analyze what it means for the future of the franchise, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We are your #1 source for everything Panthers, and you do not want to miss a single update as this situation unfolds. Also, do us a huge favor and smash that like button to help the algorithm reach more die-hard fans across the country. And speaking of fans, I want to hear from you. Where are you watching this breaking news from? Drop your city and state in the comments below, because we love seeing the reach of the Keep Pounding Nation. Now, let's get into the meat of this situation. Sources tell me that the Atlanta Falcons have officially completed an interview with Carolina's Executive Vice President, Brandt Tilis. This is not just a routine interview for a lateral move. The Falcons have created a brand new position, President of Football Operations. This is a high-level, high-authority role that would essentially give Tilis the keys to the kingdom in Atlanta. For those of you who followed the hiring of Dan Morgan and the restructuring of the Panthers front office last year, you know just how vital Tilis has been. He was the cap wizard brought in from the Kansas City Chiefs, a man who spent years under Brett Veach and helped navigate the complex financial waters of a championship roster. When David Tepper and Dan Morgan convinced him to come to Charlotte, it was seen as a massive win for the organization. Tilis was the guy responsible for the salary cap gymnastics that allowed the Panthers to be aggressive while still maintaining a long-term outlook. He brought a sense of stability and professional acumen to a front office that had been through a lot of turnover. Now, just as the team is starting to find its footing under the new leadership, the Atlanta Falcons are trying to lure him away to lead their entire football operation. This is a classic division rival power move. Not only would the Falcons be getting one of the brightest financial and administrative minds in the league, but they would be directly weakening the Panthers in the process. My sources in Atlanta indicate that the Falcons are looking for someone to oversee the entire structure, acting as a bridge between ownership and the coaching staff, and Tilis fits that mold perfectly. He has the pedigree, he has the rings from his time in Kansas City, and he has the respect of everyone in the league. For the Panthers, this is a nightmare scenario. You never want to lose top-tier talent, but losing it to the Falcons is a double blow. The interview is finished, which means we are now in the waiting period. The Falcons are also looking at other candidates, like Mike Disner from the Lions, but Tilis is widely considered a frontrunner for this specific role. The implications here are staggering. If Tilis leaves, Dan Morgan loses his right-hand man, the guy who handles the numbers so Morgan can focus on the players. It would leave a massive void at a critical time as we approach the scouting combine and free agency. We are watching this very closely, as the dominoes could start falling any minute. The fact that the interview is already completed suggests that Atlanta is moving fast. They want their leadership in place before the offseason truly kicks into high gear. Stay tuned, because this story is developing by the hour, and we will have every angle covered for you right here as soon as more information reaches my desk from my sources across the league.
Now, let's break down exactly what this means from an insider's perspective, because the departure of an executive vice president like Brandt Tilis is about much more than just a change in the organizational chart. When you look at the Panthers' current financial situation, they are in a delicate spot. They have high-priced veterans, a young quarterback in Bryce Young who will eventually need a massive extension if things go well, and a roster that needs surgical precision in free agency. Tilis was the architect of that precision. He brought the Chiefs' way to Carolina, which involves tiered contract structures and specific out years that protect the team's cap health. If he exits for Atlanta, the Panthers aren't just losing a name, they are losing a philosophy. This could force Dan Morgan to pivot his entire approach to roster building. From a depth chart perspective in the front office, who steps up? The Panthers have some talented young evaluators and cap analysts, But Tillis was the veteran presence who understood the league's collective bargaining agreement better than almost anyone. His ability to negotiate with agents and find middle ground on difficult deals is legendary in league circles. If he moves to the Falcons, he takes all that institutional knowledge of the Panthers roster, including every player's contract quirks and the team's internal valuations, straight to a division rival. That is a massive competitive disadvantage for Carolina. Imagine going into a negotiation or a trade talk, knowing that the person on the other side of the table knows exactly how much cap space you have to the penny and exactly which players you are desperate to move. It's a strategic disaster. Furthermore, let's talk about the Atlanta side of this. By creating the President of Football Operations role, the Falcons are signaling a shift toward a more corporate, streamlined football structure. If they land Tillis, they are getting a guy who has seen how a dynasty is built from the inside. They are trying to replicate the Kansas City model by using the guy who helped manage it. For the Panthers, this should serve as a wake-up call. David Tepper has been criticized in the past for being too hands-on, but the hiring of Morgan and Tillis was supposed to be the start of a football-first era where the pros were left to do their jobs. Losing half of that brain trust after just one full cycle would be a significant setback. It raises questions about the long-term stability that free agents look for. Players want to know that the front office that signs them will be there for the duration of their contract. If there is a revolving door at the EVP level, it creates a sense of unease. We also have to consider the timing. January is when the foundation for the entire next year is laid. The scouting reports are being finalized, the free agency targets are being ranked, and the cap projections for 2026 and 2027 are being locked in. To lose your chief financial officer of football right now is like losing your navigator in the middle of a storm. The Panthers would have to move incredibly fast to replace him, or risk falling behind in the most important part of the calendar. Whether they promote from within or try to poach someone from another successful organization like the Ravens or 49ers remains to be seen. But make no mistake, the Falcons are playing hardball here. They saw an opportunity to get better and make their rival worse in one move, and they are taking their shot. We will be monitoring the flight logs out of Charlotte and the reports out of Flowery Branch very closely over the next 48 hours. This decision will define the trajectory of the Panthers front office for the next 3 seasons. If Tillis stays, it's a huge vote of confidence in the project Morgan is building. If he leaves, it's back to the drawing board for a crucial piece of the puzzle. Keep your eyes peeled, because the next update could be the official announcement of a departure that no one in Carolina wanted to see.